So it's called Colossal, and I'd say it's a strange concept. I guess I'd define it as an art house monster movie, and it stars Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, and Dan Stevens. And Anne Hathaway is this kind of party girl living with her boyfriend, who's played by Dan Stevens, and she takes it too far, and so he kicks her out, and she moves back to her hometown. And then this is where it gets strange. She finds out she's connected to a creature that suddenly materializes and is destroying South Korea. Not the normal monster movie pitch you get. I honestly didn't know a lot about it. I went into it with like pretty low expectations, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised by the depth of some of the themes it explored. It really was actually more about interpersonal relationships and expectations of where you're going to go in your life and self-control and responsibilities than it was about a monster destroying a city. And I'm going to say something, and it might be unpopular, but I'm not actually a huge fan of Anne Hathaway. But I thought she did a really good job in this. There was another role she did called Rachel Getting Married that's sort of in a similar vein of that person who's at a pivotal point in their life and dealing with a lot of issues, either from interpersonal relationships, or in this case, there's also this huge giant monster scenario. So I thought she and Jason Sudeikis did a really great job. Dan Stevens is only in the film for a little bit, but he was fine in his role. And I don't want to go into too much depth because I think I appreciated this film the most because I wasn't expecting a lot, and the twists and turns were definitely unique, and I have to give credit because it was an original film, and we know how I feel about all the remakes and sequels, and so it was just really refreshing to see something that I hadn't seen before. It's not a perfect film, and I don't think it's gonna be for everyone, which is too bad. Like, I remember walking out of the theater and hearing people being like, I don't get it, I don't get why this and that, and I'm like, well, think about it then. Don't just immediately reject it. I think a lot of the sort of subtext, or sometimes not even subtext, sometimes it's a little over the head, was really interesting in this sort of package of a monster film. So don't go into it expecting, Pacific Rim or Godzilla, like that much you should know before going into it, but I thought it was worth checking out. I'm gonna give it 3.5.